The story of the olive garden. On Monday night, when the dark night enveloped the sky like a jeweler carefully placing the sun as a treasure in the chest of the earth, the king entered the old man's olive garden with a cup in his hand. The branches were adorned with green olives, and the old man placed a bowl of fresh green olives on the table as Borum prepared to listen to the story of Fanak, the old man's third daughter. The third sister began her tale with a traditional greeting: "May the kings of the world be at your pleasure, and may all your ill wishes find shelter in hell. My humble offering may not befit the Emperor of Iran, but out of respect for kings and people alike, I present this old story as a gift to the king." In ancient times, there was a king in India, whose entire country lived in prosperity and comfort, because of his justice. In addition to his good qualities, this king was also very hospitable. He had built thousands of guest houses for newly arrived guests, and every stranger who arrived would be provided with lodging and food. Sometimes he would engage in conversations with them to learn about the new and strange things from other lands. One day, a guest visited him who had traveled to many parts of the world and was knowledgeable about various sciences. The guest shared a fascinating story about a man who could restore life to a dead body with his magical breath. The hospitable king warmly welcomed the man and showed him many kindnesses. During the gathering, he inquired if the man possessed any knowledge and ensured he was not left destitute. The wise man shared all his knowledge with the king. In their conversation, they discussed the soul, death, and life. The king remarked, "One day, a person will come into this world, acquire knowledge, and eventually experience death. I have consulted numerous scholars, but it appears that death remains an unsolvable mystery." The guest smiled at the king's words. The king asked, "O wise man, what was the reason for your smile?" The guest struggled to conceal the true reason for his laughter, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't explain it. So he replied, "I have traveled the world from east to west in search of knowledge, gaining a little wisdom from every city and village. One day, I encountered a wise teacher who claimed he could transfer souls between bodies. He demonstrated this ability by magically moving his soul from one body to another. From that moment on, I dedicated myself to serving and learning from this master, withdrawing from society. Eventually, he entrusted me with the knowledge of soul transfer as his legacy. I can teach you everything I learned from him." The king said, "Dear friend, please prove to me your claim of skill in moving the soul." The guest immediately killed a fly, extracted the soul from his body, and transferred it into the body of the dead fly. In an instant, his body fell to the ground, while the dead fly fluttered its wings, jumped, flew around the inn, and then returned to the guest body, smiling at the king. The king was astonished. He said to the guest, "If you can demonstrate this skill to me, you have given me a valuable and extraordinary gift. I am willing to offer you half of my treasure." The wise man replied, "Gold holds little value to me, and my abilities are a treasure that fulfills me beyond material wealth. As someone who understands the alchemical science of life, how can I be attached to the mortal world? I have committed to teaching you this skill without hesitation." He then taught the king the secret of soul transference, enabling the king to transfer his soul into another body. After imparting this knowledge, the guest bid farewell to the king, who held on to the secret skill in his heart. The king pondered, "A candle should light hundreds of lanterns. It is futile for me to possess this knowledge without sharing it with others. It will perish with me when I die." This realization prompted him to eventually teach the art of soul transfer to his minister, making him one of his trusted and close companions. One day, the king decided to go hunting with his friends. While in the hunting ground, the king and the minister got separated from the rest of the group. The king successfully shot an arrow and hunted a deer. He then wanted to tie the catch on top of the horse's saddle. The minister addressed the king as, "O wise and artistic king. Since the catch was dead and there was no one else in the hunting ground except us, you may demonstrate some of your magic skills." Unaware of the minister's deceitful intentions, the king transformed himself out of his form and placed his soul into the body of the dead deer. At that moment, the cunning minister switched bodies with the king, taking over the king's body. The minister then rode back to the palace on the king's horse, appearing happy and smiling. Upon entering the royal palace, he engaged in intimate activities with the king's mistresses. All the mistresses in the palace except one, who knew about the king's ability to transfer souls, succumbed to the minister's desires. The minister then approached the lady of the mansion to kiss her. Sitting on the throne next to the queen, he rudely extended his hand to kiss the lady. The queen, sensing that the king would never behave in such a disrespectful manner, reacted by jumping up. Despite the minister's repeated attempts to persuade her, the queen firmly refused, stating, "Even if you take my life, I will not submit to your desires. Let time reveal the truth. If you are truly the king, then I will comply with your wishes. However, if you use the king's magic against him, you should be ashamed." The minister tried to deceive the lady for a while, but upon witnessing her unwavering chastity and loyalty, he admired her and settled for ogling her from a distance. The king, on the other hand, roamed around with the body of a deer in the wilderness, searching for pasture. He explored the mountains and plains, but found nothing but disappointment. One day, while wandering like a homeless deer in the desert, he spotted a parrot. Intrigued, he made the decision to leave the deer form and inhabit the parrot instead. Taking flight into the sky, he joined a flock of parrots. Recognizing his superior knowledge, the other parrots began to follow him. A bird catcher was lurking in a corner of the meadow, setting a trap for parrots. Inexperienced parrots fell into the trap set by the bird catcher. Meanwhile, a thirsty bird hunter was searching for the water stream. The commander parrot addressed the other parrots, saying, "I see no way to escape this trap except by pretending to be dead to avoid this danger." The other parrots agreed, "We will follow your lead." As everyone fell asleep, only the commander parrot remained awake, keeping watch. When the bird catcher returned, he was surprised to find that only one of the 100 parrots was alive. He opened the trap to remove the dead parrots from the net, and as soon as the net was lifted, the parrots flew into the sky. The flying birds made noise in the air, prompting the commander parrot to speak to the bird catcher, "Do not worry about the parrots that escaped from the trap. No matter how much you have lost from their escape, I will compensate you double. Do not consider me an ordinary parrot, I am a talking parrot. While normal parrots eat sugar, like Kiddo I provide miraculous water to others." With the trap on his shoulder, the bird catcher headed to the city to test his luck. He went to the market to buy something when a beautiful woman suddenly appeared in the midst of the bustling market. Her hair was scented with amber perfume, and her eyes resembled those of a deer, captivating everyone who laid eyes on her. The woman then seized the businessman's collar and declared, "I had a dream last night where we indulged in sweets and wine all night, and you made love to me. For such beauty, the price of my companionship is 1,000 gold dinars, which you must pay. If you willingly offer the coins as a gesture of kindness, I will accept them. However, if you refuse, I will take them by force." The businessman initially tried to persuade the woman to reconsider her pursuit of profit, but his efforts were in vain as she remained adamant. As more people in the market gathered around them, each offering their own opinions and justifications in an attempt to mediate the dispute, but none were successful in resolving the conflict. Meanwhile, the bird catcher, engrossed in observing the heated discussion between the businessman and the woman, momentarily forgot about the parrot he had caught. A parrot flew up into the sky and perched on the shoulder of a bird catcher. It spoke to him, saying, "Bring the man and woman to me so that I can help solve their problem." Upon hearing this, the bird catcher brought the couple to the parrot to hear their issue. Parrot said, "I have heard both sides, but before making a final judgment, I want both parties to abide by my decision and not try to undermine fairness. Both the man and the woman agreed to accept the judgment of the parrot. The parrot then turned to the man and said, "Open the bag and give the woman the gold coins she desires, and I will ensure she receives them." The businessman opened the bag of gold coins and began counting them. When he handed the coins to the woman, she tried to take all of them, but the parrot intervened, stating, "A claim is only true when a mirror confirms its truth, and I am no more judgmental than a mirror." The woman then brought a mirror and placed it in front of the parrot. The parrot instructed the businessman to count the coins she had requested and place them in front of the mirror. The image of the coins was reflected in the mirror. The parrot then pointed to the woman and said, "The coins are in the mirror, take them away." Just as in a dream, one's reward should also be found in their dreams. The woman was taken aback by the parrot's serious judgment and stood there in disbelief. Onlookers were amazed by the trial, with a large crowd gathering around the parrot, the businessman, and the woman. The market and road were blocked by the curious spectators. Everyone wanted to buy the parrot, but the bird catcher refused to sell it at any price. Offers to purchase the parrot continued to increase as the story of the bird judge spread from city to city. The queen was simultaneously sad and heartbroken over the king's departure. She cried day and night and had no desire to socialize with anyone. However, upon hearing that a wonderful wise parrot had been found in the city, she instructed her agents to purchase the parrot at any cost to provide her with entertainment and companionship in her loneliness. The agents located the bird catcher, inquired about the price of the parrot, and offered him more gold coins than he had requested. They then brought the sweet-talking parrot to the palace. The lady asked a question to the parrot, and the bird answered, talking sweetly with the queen for hours. The lady made a cage of gold to place on top of her bed for the parrot. Whenever she remembered her husband, she kept herself busy with the parrot. One dawn, the lady sat alone on the bed next to the parrot cage. The clever bird, noticing the absence of others, revealed to the queen that he is the king himself, reincarnated in the parrot's body. He then recounted the entire tale of hunting a deer, soul transference to the deer's body, wandering in the desert, reincarnation as a parrot, being ensnared by a bird catcher, the judgment between a businessman and a woman, and how his heartfelt wish had been granted, allowing him to reunite with his beloved. After listening to the parrot's stories, the queen stood up with tears in her eyes, kissed the parrot's hands and feet, and said, "Do you know the terrible days I endured while you were away? Even now that you have returned, things don't seem right. Each being must be with its own kind, and a woman and a bird cannot be spouses." The parrot replied, "It's true that the enemy has locked all doors on me, but don't despair, for I hold the key to these closed doors. The solution lies in approaching the minister with cunning. Tell him that you will be his lover on one condition: he must enter a dead body and prove his skill in soul reincarnation to make love to you. Once he leaves my body and enters the dead body, I will return to it." Upon hearing this, the queen felt as if she had been brought back to life. An hour later, the minister went to see the queen. The queen invited him to sit in a corner of her bed. Surprised by the lady's kindness, the minister said, "I am honored that the queen has allowed me in her presence today. What has transpired that I have suddenly gained favor?" The queen replied, "I have not been inclined to be in your company until now, but your politeness and morals have impressed me. After learning more about you, I believe you are the king himself. However, to dispel any doubts, I must test you one final time. Do you recall the Indian traveler who taught you the technique of leaving your body with a witch and entering another? If you can demonstrate that skill once more, then you will indeed be my king, and I will be your queen and wife." The minister, who had long harbored desires for the queen, realized that she was within his reach. He eagerly responded, "Your request is a trifle. I am willing to grant you anything you desire, even my heart and eyes. The flames of desire now consume me, and my life holds no value without you. Instruct them to bring me a corpse." They brought a live chicken, and the minister, who was burning with lust, quickly killed the poor chicken. Magically, his spirit exited his body and entered the chicken's body. The minister's lifeless body fell like a fallen leaf, while the chicken flew away. The king, seeing the empty body, swiftly dived back into his body and killed the chicken with a dagger. The king embraced his faithful queen, cherishing her even more than before. He banished the rest of the Seralia women and handmaidens from the palace. Following this incident, the king's interest in parrots grew. He kept several silver statues of parrots in the palace, conversing with them and imparting wisdom. Bahram praised Farnak for the captivating story, and thanked her for sharing it as part of the hospitality custom.